Hi everyone, welcome to another episode whereby we are talking to members of PSP, that's Progress Singapore Party, and today I have the pleasure of having the company of Harish Pillay in the studio with me. Welcome Harish to the show.
Thank you, Greg.
Okay, so in this series that we are doing, we are hoping to get to know a little bit more about you on a personal level. You know, people know you as a public figure, as a candidate for PSP. So we are just trying to get to know you a little bit better. And Harish has agreed to share with us some of his photos from the past, and I believe one of your baby photos also, right? Or kid.
Yeah. Well, that is true. Yeah.
Cool.
But colorized.
No. Oh, right. So you are born in Singapore?
Of course.
Okay, good for you, because sometimes there are people who are born overseas and then they came over here. So you are how many generation in Singapore? Second?
Well, if you want to count it properly, I think it's second generation.
Second generation, right? Okay, so were your parents born here as well?
No, my parents weren't. So I am, but my parents weren't. But if I were to look at my wife's side, she's third generation from that perspective.
Oh, I see.
It depends on how you want to count it.
How you want to count it. Yeah. It doesn't matter. We were all born and raised and true blue Singaporeans in every sense of the word, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so where were you like growing up? You know, when you were a kid and all this. Which part of Singapore were you?
The early life was spent in Queenstown.
Oh, Queenstown.
I grew up in Queenstown. We moved into Commonwealth Crescent in 1964, a year before we became independent. And I remember going with my dad and mom and my little baby sister then, walking around the place to look for the apartment, because those blocks did not have block numbers. There were no block numbers, and we were given a bunch of keys by HDB. My dad received a bunch of keys, and he was told, go and find which unit you want. Go and open up and check and see what you want. So that's the story he told me, and I was walking with him. I know, because we're walking from one block to another block, trying to figure out where does this key fit, because there's no block numbers.
My goodness.
So eventually we finally figured out something along the way, and we went there. We found his house. Okay, we checked the place. Okay, so we decided on taking. I don't know whether we had to choose 2 or 3, but eventually the one we settled in was block 109 260D.
260D.
So now it's 05. Now it's 05260.
On the 5th floor.
5th floor, yeah. Oh. Because in those days was ABCD. Everything was lettered from the 2nd floor onwards. So the ground floor was 0. I mean, had nothing. Then ABCD. So.
How high was the block?
Those are all 10-story blocks.
Oh, but you all chose the midway.
Well, let's put it this way: 1964. Because we were going from, we were at that point living in Pui Hee Avenue in the Senate Estate, and a flat was a new thing. So how to figure out all of this? Which floor should it be? I mean, who knows? Yeah. It is what it is, right?
Totally new, right?
Totally new, and totally new to everything, right? So.
Right.
But I do remember the entire episode of walking down the road in Commonwealth Crescent, and parts of the car park was not metalled yet. It was still, rocks and stuff like that, and going to this house and, okay, this is what it is, and then choosing it, and then eventually moved in there. So I lived there for 20 years until 1984 when my parents moved out to Bukit Permai.
Bukit Permai, okay.
Yeah. So 20 years there, going to kindergarten. Kindergarten, primary school, and then subsequently secondary school. Yeah.
So where were you in your primary school? Which?
The only school that matters, Newtown Primary School.
Well, you heard that, folks, from Harish. The only school.
School that matters is Newtown Primary School.
I wish many people were as fervent as you about the.
Well, the school was opened by Dr. Goh Keng Swee.
Oh, cool. Is it still around, right, Newtown?
Yes, and that's one of the reasons why it's still around.
Oh,
because it was opened by Dr. Goh Keng Swee. Yeah, so it's an interesting little nuance that I only figured out when the school was, when my older son we were trying to get him to the school. My first question to the principal then was, is the school going to be around? Oh. And she said, why not? No, because other schools are merging into Newtown Primary.
Right.
So what does that mean? Will the school disappear, change name, blah, blah, blah? So she said, well, check who opened the school.
So
that makes a lot of sense.
You got your answer.
So I got my answer there. So that's not going to disappear. And now the school has relocated across the road to a brand new campus. Well, not now. It's been at least 10 years, I think. But, so it will continue.
Great. Okay, maybe we can look at some of the photos that you have brought to share with us.
Yeah, why not?
Let's look at this one. Oh, that's a black and white picture.
Yeah, that's a black and white picture.
You and mom?
Mom and dad, yeah.
Oh, all right.
That's
wow, it's
probably,
black and white.
Yeah, it's in black and white. But, I ran it through colorize.sg.
Oh, so the next time it's turned into color?
And then it became color.
All right, cool.
So, isn't that pretty cool?
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful service that is set up by and run by GovTech.
Oh.
So you just load up your
free,
totally free.
So you have any black and white pictures, you put it through this software and then it comes out colorized.
It's a website. It's a colorize.sg.
Oh.
Put your black and whites there.
It looks very natural.
Yeah, it's actually, when you look at the color definition and all that, suddenly there's a lot more depth in this rather than the black and white.
Yeah.
The black and white doesn't seem to have the depth. Whereas here the leaves are, I can see my dad, I can see myself. Oh,
how old were you then?
This is probably less than 1 year old, I think.
Oh, less than 1 year old.
Yeah,
so you were saying you had a sibling?
Yeah, I got a younger sister.
So just two of you.
Two of us,
okay. All right. What was Dad doing?
He was at that time, if I believe he was working in this company that was dealing with import-export of whatever it was, textiles or stuff like that.
Okay.
And he was there for 40 years or plus.
Wow. In those days, they worked for one company.
That's pretty much what it was.
Loyalty is
but
there.
But he enjoyed his job, so can't complain.
Mom was a homemaker?
Yeah, she was a homemaker. Yeah, she was indeed was.
So both of them are still around? Or?
Only my mom is around. My dad passed on about 13 years ago. So
sorry to hear that. But mom's still around. Is she staying with you? Or?
She has her own. Where my parents were living, so she lives there, and she's fine. She's hale and hearty.
Is she quite near to you? Or?
Yeah, close by. So.
That's good. You know, something about talking about parents. Some of them are still very fiercely independent. You know, they want to have their own place and all these kind of things, right? Yeah, because this is like sometimes they don't want to become a mother outlaw.
I think that is is a possible.
They want to remain a mother-in-law, don't become a mother outlaw.
Yeah, it can be a challenge, right? But on the other hand, I think all things considered, she has she's healthy, she's doing everything fine. Why not? That's
okay.
She's about the same age as a dog. So.
Oh really? So it's about 80. 80.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Wow. So let's look at what is another picture that you might have up here.
That's
you
me
too,
again. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not sure when this is. It's probably maybe 2 years old. I'm guessing. I can't even tell. Again, it's colorized. It was originally black and white. So.
But I said it looks very good. It looks so natural. The software is doing
it's actually a pretty good job. I mean, there are challenges in it, but you can see my left arm has got a little bit of a shade in it, and my right arm seems a bit more.
It still looks pretty good.
So the algorithm has to be improved perhaps.
So what fond memories do you have from your childhood?
What fond memories from childhood?
Yeah.
I remember this one. It's not a fond memory, but it was an interesting memory from when was it? When was the confrontasi? 1963, 63, 64, somewhere around there. So we were in where we were living in Senate Estate. I remember there was a bomb burst.
Ooh.
And there I was with my dad and my sister and I. So we had this tricycle. So my sister sitting behind me, and I'm sitting in front. I'm cycling. So we cycled all the way to where there was a crater in the ground.
You mean you went to see
the crater? That's it's like. I mean, I think I saw something. I mean, I don't remember much, but I seem to remember that as sitting on the bicycle going with my dad to see the crater.
Wow. Were you allowed to go there? It was after the event?
No, after everything. Yeah. So I guess people in the area
curious
to see what's going on. So I mean, that's.
So did you do the usual things like when you're a kid, like fly kite,
of course,
marbles, play goalie, and then go to the longkang or whatever?
I had another interesting memory of that where we were in Senate Estate. It was one rainy day at night time. So my mom likes to sew, and so she had a sewing machine, and it was right next to the window. And for some reason, or I don't know what, but her spool of thread kind of rolled and fell off outside the window and went onto the ground outside. And because it's it's on the ground floor, so I volunteered to go and pick it up. And it's raining, so I think my house must have been 3 years old, 4 years old. So what I remember is I went out there, went over to where it was, right next to the window, picked it up, turned around, I saw a frog, and the frog was making noise, and I started panicking. So, and I don't know what happened after that. The only thing I freaked out, oh, there's a frog there. Like, when you're only so big, the frog is very large, right? So relatively speaking. So that was an interesting thing.
You ran back home screaming.
No, so I don't know how whether my mom came out to put me in or whatever, but that's the only thing I remember.
So you were severely traumatized by the episode.
No, actually I love frogs. Frogs are fun.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So what is this? This was?
Oh, this is during school days, secondary school days. This is because I was in the Red Cross when I was in secondary school.
Secondary school, you were in which secondary school?
It's a small school, and it was in Bras Basah Road.
Bras Basah Road.
Yeah, it's called Raffles Institution.
Oh, come on, small school.
It's a small school. It's a relatively unknown school.
Yeah, one of your PSP, the ASG, the Leong Man Wai is also. So that means he also did mention to me in the interview I conducted with him. He was the last batch that was located at Bras Basah.
That's true. Yeah,
so
we were in the same.
We were
in the same cohort.
Oh, okay.
So I was in Sec 1B and he was in 1C, I think, or something like that. Whatever it was. Yeah, so we were the last cohort in Bras Basah.
I see.
That was. Those were the days which I have no idea what was going on. I think none of us knew what was going on. It was just what it was, right?
Right. But you all were the smart kids. I mean, come on, you all went into RI.
Honestly, I have no idea. I mean, frankly, I have no idea. It was 1971 PSLE is what we did. We had 6 subjects to cover. Okay, we had the usual 4 plus geography and history, and who knows how we did? I have no idea. We had no tuition, no nothing. It was just whatever it was is what it was, and eventually you're going to the school. Okay.
So your parents must have decided that to apply for RI.
No, actually, the truth be told, when we were applying for PSI for secondary school, right? All I know is my form teacher was saying, okay, you all, okay, you apply for this school. And the other one, you apply for this school. I mean, you have no idea. 1971, what do we know about any of these things?
You're a bit naive, right?
Totally. I mean, everybody. The entire population was naive. I mean, it's like, it is whatever it was, right? So, the teacher, form teacher, she, which form teacher? Oh, that's Miss Koh. So, she's the one who said, okay, all you guys, you put this one as the first choice and then this one as second choice. Okay. So why we don't know? I mean, she said that, suggested that.
So it wasn't your parents; it was the teacher who suggested.
I think all of us.
I think she knew how well you were going to do academically and things like this. So the teacher must have known that. Even at that point in time, the teachers will know that RI was still RI in that sense.
I honestly, I have no idea. I mean, I cannot put my mind to that period to figure out the rest of the supporting information that was available. Maybe to teachers, but the rest of the population, I don't know. Maybe there was.
Just curious. At that point in time when you were in RI, right? Was there everyone was like, no one felt out of place and
no, absolutely
class divide or everyone?
No, we were all really. I think there was none of us actually. Probably maybe there were a few that went to school in a car. We were all taking a bus. It's a given. It was how it was, right? So, I know we were all neighbors and this and whatever.
So no one was chauffeur driven in a Mercedes or.
No, I'm sure there was. I just nobody paid attention.
Nobody paid any attention to it.
Maybe nobody even knew that it was happening.
Right.
But
interesting. So because like sometimes nowadays you hear there's some class distinction and if you are not from a privileged background and then you go to certain schools, all the you feel that divide,
It's unfortunate that is that is even happening, right? Because it shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't be the case. Come on, I mean it is just a luxury that sometimes you have, but at the end of the day, you have to live humbly. I mean, you accumulate all of these things. What's the purpose of that, right?
Now, what happened is that sometimes it's never a level playing field in that sense. You see, so like if you are from a normal school and suddenly you go to a school with a bit more atas on, as they say, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly you go there, then you feel like, am I like the environment just a bit of a culture shock? Also,
Sure. I think it's more evident now than it probably was then.
During your time,
I don't think
that's
so.
why I'm just trying to find out how it was.
I don't think so.
So in your time, like bochap lah, everyone.
Bochap lah, whatever it was. I mean, to me, my fondest memory of school days was everything other outside the class. Nothing to do with the class.
Right.
Well, nothing to do with the lessons. It was all my ECA. Whatever that we were playing football, playing hockey, playing rugby, playing whatever.
You had fun,
We were having fun. We all our ECA and everything else. That's what I remember more than what happened in class.
What happened in the academic side? Everyone had to study.
Yeah, that one had to do. But then that defined school. That defined my, for me that was what it was. I'm sure a lot of my classmates probably will say the same thing.
Feel the same way, right? Yeah.
We were playing car park soccer. That's our core thing, car park soccer, which is essentially, the hard plastic ball. And we play in the car park itself, or we play at the what do you call this? The basketball court.
Basketball court, yeah.
So these are the two places we play. And it doesn't matter what time. Doesn't matter whether it's only 1 minute to play. We go there and play.
Right.
And then we'll be sweating, and then go back to class. But you remember that. Right. You don't remember what happened in class.
Right. Let's see what's the next photo you have lined up for us. Oh wow, this is already.
This is my full-time NS days.
Full-time NS.
This is outside the senior police officers mess. SPO. I mean, in Mount Pleasant.
In police.
In the police force.
Army, okay.
Yeah, in the police force.
Okay.
I mean, this is one of those things that because this is the third batch. I was in part of the third batch of police inspectors. We had no background at all as to what the heck this was all about. Absolutely no background, right? So 1977 was when we got enlisted, and I remember had to go back to MINDEF to CMPB before enlistment day. I think about a week or before that, it says, okay, come back for some reason. Went back there, and then they say, oh, now you've been transferred to Special Constabulary.
Okay, there's a police,
Yeah. So I'm standing there. What is a Special Constabulary? Have no idea what that is. So then I saw a lot of my classmates also who were also enlisting at the same time, also being told they're going to SC. Like, what is this? So I asked the lady at the counter, I said, what is that? I said, oh, these are police, Okay. And to do what? Oh, you stand at the traffic light and control traffic. So I told her, but I'm going to do this for 2.5 years. You got to be kidding me. Can I go back to the army? They said, oh, you have to go and talk to the commandant at CMBB. So where is his office? Is outside there. I don't think he's in there. Okay. So it's like, then I looked around and said, oh, some of my classmates were there. I said, what is this? Okay, whatever this is. Okay.
So on the enlistment date, where did you report? Was it also to CMPB?
No, we had to report to CMBB, go through the usual process and everything, and then get into a bus and then go to police academy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I thought you all reported straight to police academy.
No,
you still went to CMPB.
Yeah. Well, you see, one thing, like I said, this is the third batch, so there's a lot of systems and processes that were not in place yet. Right, so it was a system that was just starting up.
So there was
so a lot of rough edges on the side, which is fine, And so I mean, I this is what I said. I grew up doing my full-time NS. I mean, it was just amazing because when you're wearing a police officer's uniform and you are an inspector of police and you're doing whatever needs to be done.
Warrant card already,
No, all of us got warrant card.
Yeah.
But it is a different story. I mean, people look at you and say, you're the officer here, you take care of this. I'm 19 years old. I'm an inspector of police. Yeah, but you take care of this. It's a very public thing. And it's and you literally have to grow up on the spot. You got to find your, somewhere the ideas of leadership, the idea of how do I collaborate with people, what do I need to do with my sergeants and corporals and whoever it is, right? It's not easy.
It was a bit overwhelming in that sense.
I mean, we were all concerned, because when you're doing something like this, you can train in a make-believe perspective, but when in reality, when you actually hit the ground, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But I grew up. I mean, I really grew up.
So after you finished your NS, you went on to uni?
Yeah, I went to the, I did go to the Singapore Polytechnic after that actually, because I mean, I really wanted to do electrical engineering, but didn't get into electrical engineering at the then University of Singapore. But the point is that I decided, hey, Singapore Poly opened up. The Polytechnic system was allowing those who finish A-levels to come into the Poly and go into second year. So I wanted to do what I want to do, not what somebody tells me to do.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do electrical engineering. So I went there, did that, and I'm very thankful of having that opportunity, because that was great. I mean, I was doing what I wanted to do. And then subsequently went off to finish that and started work, and had saved some money, and then went off to the US and go to graduate school. So did my master's and all that in the United States, and that was, again, at a time and a place where there were many things happening. So I think that was good fun from a personal perspective as well.
Okay. That's how it was. You went from your JC after, and then you went to the.
Well, we didn't call it JC then, but it was
pre-U, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Then after that, you went to the Poly, and then after that, you went on to the States to finish up your education and things. So
no, there's no finishing to education. It's the next step.
I mean, at least you graduated, lah. Right. Let's look at the next picture. Where was this? Where was
this? This was one of those things I wanted to. Was on my bucket list. I didn't know there was such a list at that point in time, but today we have a label for it. So this was what I wanted to climb Mount Kinabalu. So an uncle of mine who used to live in KK, he invited me, and I went there. And so the guy in the picture is one of the guides you must mandatorily have in order to do your a climb.
Okay. I have to turn on because the image is a bit small.
Yeah.
No person shall proceed beyond this point without approved guide.
Yeah, so he's the guide.
Okay. So the guide is reminding you need a guide.
No, I wanted to remind myself that he needed to be there, and therefore that's the reason for that.
Okay, interesting. Let's see, what's your next picture you have for
I
us?
don't know. This was in school in Oregon State University.
Oregon State, okay. Were you celebrating National Day?
No, I brought a flag along because I wanted to remind myself, hey, I'm from Singapore, so like this little red dot somewhere, right? So, but it was not called red dot at that point, but so I hang it up there, and so that it's able to do a bit of show and tell.
How long were you in the States studying?
Studying and working all together about 8 to 9 years.
Oh, that's quite a long time you were there.
So I mean, I learned a lot. I mean, I worked for a while in
you
US.
were not married yet at that point in time?
No.
Until you came back to Singapore?
Only after coming back home,
Okay. Interesting.
So it was good fun. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot connected to this thing called ARPANET. Which then became what is now known as the Internet. And so I've been on this thing called the Internet from 1985.
Wow.
So, probably some...
You're one of the pioneers then
I would say, yes, I'm a pioneer from a Singapore point of view, but I'm not a pioneer from the global perspective. It's one of those things which, to me, was at the right place at the right time to learn a lot of things. And not completely unplanned, right? Completely unplanned.
Sometimes life takes you in a certain way. Just
correct.
go with the flow.
Go with the flow. And I learned a lot from there. That's when I learned there's this idea of open collaboration. Collaborate with people around the world. Just do the stuff. Share your knowledge. Share your ideas. And then everybody rises up. And then they learn and then they contribute back. And that to me is a very positive feedback cycle. As opposed to I hold everything for myself.
Just like the guy who invented the internet, he never owned it for himself, right? I mean, this is the story
he didn't invent it. No, he's not invented the internet. It was a bunch of guys, Windsurf and Bob Kahn and all that. They had to solve a particular problem for the
military, right?
It was not a military thing. It was for National Science Foundation. At that point in time, they needed to have a way to communicate between computers that will be resilient. It won't fail. That was one of the design principles. So they had to figure out how to do this, and eventually they came up with some ideas and tried to build it, and they built it, and they had an initial connection between two universities in the West Coast of the United States, and then subsequently added a few more. And that had resiliency. So even if one node goes down, the system still continues. Okay, so you need to build it. So that's how that entire thing, and that was initially called ARPANET. So it stands for Advanced Research Projects Agency, ARPA, which is a US funding agency for military-related research.
That's why I'm asking, because you know a little bit about it.
And so that's how it started. But the nice convenient story is that you can resilience from a military perspective as well, so that you can survive a failure in command and control. When if a node is destroyed by an enemy forces, your communication can still continue. So that's it's a good story, but it's not necessarily accurate, but it's good. It's a good story, and I go with it.
Good spin.
Yeah,
right?
It's a good spin.
So wow. So you are pretty much a techie, in the sense, either by chance or whatever, because you are engineering background as well. So
it is. I mean, but I would actually credit that techie bit all the way back to primary school.
Oh, primary school, you were influenced already?
My primary 2 teacher, Miss Ng.
Miss Ng, you still remember?
No, because I mean, these are memories you keep, right?
Yes.
So I remember she came into class, and this was, I believe, it's the morning session, because we were alternate afternoon, morning, right? So she came to class, and she brought a battery, brought a wire, and a bulb, and by the and so we are standing there looking at her, right? I mean, all much taller when you're only in primary 2. So, and then she magically was able to get the battery, the wire, and the bulb together, and the bulb lit up. What did you do? What was that? It's like, wow, that's pretty cool. What is that? And so, and then I think she showed us what was happening, and then I needed to do something with it. So we went home and took out my dad's flashlight and tried to do something, and it didn't work. Don't know what was going on. Didn't understand what was actually happening. So that's when it's like, this is actually kind of fun,
so
to tinker. It triggered. Then so it's you learn a lot by doing and then making mistakes. Don't do that next time. Do the other way. Otherwise, you never learn. So it was a good fun. So I credit to her. I mean, I give her the credit for that.
So she was the one who
you can blame her if you want to.
The spark of fire or interest. Yeah. Let's look at the next picture that you have. What is this one?
The new paper wig walk.
Okay.
So what I wanted to do is all my family, it's like, okay, let's do this. So I think we had, this is not everybody, I think we had about 30 or 25 of us from the extended family to go for a big walk.
Organized everyone
I got everybody. I said, I need your in details, and then we sign up, send it to the newspaper, and then we got everybody tagged. So my dad is in the middle there. Okay. He's one number 0607.
0607.
So said, let's do that. So we got that going. That was good fun. I mean, it was a 3-kilometer walk. But,
so it's
but still, the point about it is
that bonding.
Get the family.
Get the family together.
Yeah.
Right. Let's look at the next picture that you have shared with us. You're going to share.
This is the 2 boys. Yeah. It's a while back. My older son is 22. The other guy is 20.
So he's already still in uni or?
No, the older son, he will be going to university.
Okay.
The younger fella has just got enlisted. So last week. So
I see. Is he in the police as like
no, they are both armed forces. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought maybe the father went to the police.
I don't. Actually, that's a very interesting theory. Or I don't think there is any correlation of any nature.
I'm just thinking how nice it would be, right?
It seems to be, but no. I think it's good that we have different.
What are your boys' names?
My older son's name is Ajay, and the younger son's name is Amrish.
Ajay and Amrish. Okay. I'm sure they must as tall as you know.
They're taller than me.
Oh yeah.
The youngest fella is even taller than everybody else. So
okay.
He's a giant
better
in the
nutrition,
house. Well,
it's part of the reason.
It's part of the reason.
Part of the reason.
Better nutrition.
Lovely. Okay, let's look at what's the next picture you have coming?
The same son with my sons again. This was part of the hash that I'm part of. The hash house harriers.
The running group, huh?
The running club with the drinking problem. Or drinking club with a running problem, whichever way you want to use it, right?
Why you always celebrate with a beer or something when you feel?
At the end of the run, have a drink and be fun.
It's a good way to end
it's every week, it's a lot of good fun. I enjoy that because it's a lot of camaraderie. You get to see parts of Singapore which you never expected to still be around. And there are parts of Singapore which I've been to. It's like I remember going here when I was in NS. It's still here, which is great. And then we've been to other places like, there used to be a hill here, now no longer a hill here. Yeah.
Right.
So this was at Echo Valley.
Valley.
So this was a family day of my hash chapter.
Oh,
And so the
okay,
boys were
okay.
there, and we go running in the mud. I mean, they're city kids, so
Yeah. So it's good
you
to
know,
get them.
get them. You know, it's an opportunity, right?
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get dirty and muddy and
Yeah.
whatever
I'm
else.
sure they must have enjoyed themselves, huh?
Yes and no. I know one of my older son. When they were much smaller, we go for that, and there will be. We used to label the difficulty of the run
Okay.
by the number of times that he would be upset. Okay. The younger fella was
More
he
gung-ho.
enjoyed. Yeah, he was more gung-ho. This guy was not. So
Okay.
so we used to. So is it a 1 or 2 or 3?
Oh.
So you know, it's a 3. Maybe 3 times he kind of like
Grumble.
grumble. You know.
So that's the worst,
That would be the worst. Yeah. So I remember there was once when they were much even smaller than that. We were somewhere, I forget where it was, somewhere in Yio Chu Kang or somewhere on a hill, and it was already tired. The boys were tired. I know they were tired. So we had to go back up the hill. It's probably 200, maybe 20, 30 meters up this way. Had to. They said, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. There were 2 fellas there. I had to carry them.
I expect you to carry.
Yeah,
You
so
had
I
to carry them.
I carried
God.
both, or both arms. Like, man, this is tough. But you know, you're sweating, they are sweating, everybody. Okay, never mind, we go there, because at the end of it, okay, you got some ice cream, you got this, you got that, you have some fun, okay lah.
Was mommy?
Yeah, she will also,
along?
she will come along as well.
Okay.
But that one day, she was not able to make it, but it's okay. We did it.
Father and son bonding.
Oh yeah, it is. It's always
Okay,
been.
let's look at the next picture that you have coming up. Let's look at the next one. Oh wow, that's you in a uniform.
Yeah, that's me in a uniform in Banda
But
Aceh.
that doesn't seem like a police uniform already.
This is civil defense. So I got in after my NS in police force. We were all reserves at that time, and then in 1984, 85, the SCDF was set up, Civil Defense Force. The challenge that SCDF had at that time was they had no officer corps. It was brand new organization and so on, and so what was done was they transferred a whole bunch of us who were reservist police officers into SCDF. So we took to take over the officer ranks from all the divisions and all that. So I got transferred in 85, I believe it was. Then I disrupted, went off, and then when I came back, I was appointed as I was heading up the public warning system. You know, when every first of the month you have the sirens going off. Yeah, so I was supposed to be in charge of that system that activates the PWS.
Okay. Public warning system.
Public warning, PWS.
But
So this is
Banda Aceh. Why were you there?
This is subsequent to that. This is happened in 2004 when the tsunami happened in the Indian Ocean.
Oh, the one that was it Christmas or Christmas Eve or
Christmas,
Christmas
no,
Day?
Boxing Day. Boxing
Yeah,
Day.
26th of December, right?
Yeah. So.
Oh wow.
So I got called up by ICDF and say, hey, somebody called me, and I had to verify that the person's actually not calling. Who was calling me is actually valid, and verified that yes, this is something from ICDF. And they say, oh, you're going to be deployed. And I had no other information other than I'm going to be deployed. I mean, as a reservist, you don't expect anything like that. Honestly, you don't. Yeah. But okay, so that happened. And then I was there for 2 weeks in Banda Aceh. So you go there by...
Devastation everywhere?
Oh, it's total. I mean, it was a total devastation. It's 5 kilometers from the shore. You can actually see where the water stopped. Everything was fine. Anything from there to the shore is all destroyed. All gone. Totally gone. Only trees you may see. Trees are kind of skinny and all will be there, but the buildings, everything
gone,
washed out. Yeah.
Wow.
So we went there. Our mission was search and rescue. That was our mission. SCDF mission. It's under the Operation Lionheart. This is a SCDF thing that they do. Anywhere there's a disaster, if we get mobilized, when SCDF gets mobilized or it gets involved, it's called Operation Lionheart. Lion, Singapore, the heart of Singapore.
Wow, so did you have to, was there a lot of dead bodies and all?
What do you expect?
You have to go and help retrieve those bodies too?
Well, our objective was search and rescue. So when we got there, the challenge was total destruction. There's no, no local authority. So we work with the United Nations to give some degree of accountability. And then the UN told us, you from Singapore, what are your capabilities? What can you do? And then you decide what you think you want to deploy.
Oh.
So we, SAF was the unit, I mean, it was next to us, and we were CDF. And so we had to go down and survey the place and see what the heck are we going to be doing here. So our objective was search and rescue. So we had to change that thing, because search who and rescue what.
Nothing to rescue.
Yeah, because we need to have some intel to tell you to do that, right? So then we radio back to Singapore, and so that was what's the next thing we can do? Okay, disease prevention. So that's what we ended up doing. So the idea was, okay, then we clear bodies so that it won't cause diseases. So we, for the next 2 weeks, that's all we did.
Clear bodies.
Clear bodies. Just put into body bag.
Have to be buried?
No, we put them into body bags. Put the bodies into body bags, and that's about it. And then we leave on the side, and I let the Indonesian, the TNI, the Indonesian military, to clear the bodies. They put the body bags onto trucks, and then the UN had created a long trench near the airport, near the Bandar
mass grave.
For mass grave, yeah. So then they dumped all the body bags in there, filled it up. I haven't been back there since then, so I really don't know what has happened since then. But that's what they did.
And it was very traumatizing for you guys, man, having to deal with so many dead people. Wow.
It's it's one of those things, I mean, in some ways, because I was in the police force, we had to deal with mati cases, people jumping down and all that. Had done that, but this is in a completely different scale.
Yeah.
Totally different scale, and these are people who didn't see it coming.
Yeah, precisely. Yeah, it's a natural disaster.
Yeah, it's a disaster, right? So, I mean, it's a tough call. I mean, but it's something that you have to do. I mean, I'm glad that I was able to do it. Was physically fit and able to do it, and the fact that Singapore could do it.
How big was the contingent that Singapore?
Our SCDF we were 24, 25 men, and we had one truck, 1 3-tonner, water. We had a generator. We had tentage and stuff like that. And we go. And so we organized with people who joined us subsequently. There were people from South Africa, from Mexico, from Italy. They're all civilians. They joined us. So they are civilians joining us, and then we go with them and do whatever we can,
Not like your SCDF trained civilians just came.
But they are, because they come from countries and cities that have these as issues. So they are civilian volunteers for disaster. So they have experience in their own countries. So when someone else has issues, they fly there on their own money.
Wow.
Okay, it's not
very
that someone paid.
Of them, huh?
Yeah, it's actually quite remarkable to see that. So I had a bunch of people. So I made a lot of friends with a lot of people, which was kind of good in an interesting manner. But it was fun.
Yeah. Wow, interesting, man. Wow, you lived a very interesting life, huh? I must say, huh?
It's all one of those unexpected
photo
things.
You have up here. This is a family outing.
Oh, we had a family.
Better circumstances.
This is somewhere in Kuching.
Oh, so
one of those forests there, which was a fascinating place, I must say. I mean, you see the orangutans in the.
Wow, from Bandar Aceh to.
It's a very different. It's a very different.
Much better. Let's look at. Are there any more family photos? There's
this one.
Stylo lah.
This one's a bit of a Milo kind of thing.
Yeah. Cool, man, bro.
No, I was particularly proud of the fact that to me that the memory of Bandar Aceh was the second last day or third last day before we were asked to come back. Was we were done with the days clearing of bodies. So we were going back to our base at the airport, and we stopped by because we noticed that eggs were appearing in the shops.
Eggs?
Eggs, yeah. Because
chicken eggs?
Chicken eggs, yeah. So when that happens, it's because the animals and everybody have kind of normalized. They are back to being normal. So now you find eggs in the shop, which never was there before. So we stopped to buy some eggs. So that we can do some cooking So what happened was there was a bunch of boys who came to us as we were. I got off from there, and then a bunch of boys, they pulled my shirt. Pulled my shirt. Singapore, bagus. I mean, you feel
their gratitude, yeah. Huh?
So to me, that was it's a bit emotional at that point, because it's not something that you do because you want to do something. This is something unexpected, right? And you're there, and I could do it.
So you felt that it was an honor and a privilege to be able to help people who really needed help, like having undergone a very bad natural disaster.
They got no control.
Hundreds of thousands of people died across the.
The last number I've seen is like 250,000.
Oh man.
Yeah, so
That was quite serious,
it's not non-trivial.
So I guess this is a memory you'll carry with you for the rest of your life, that you have at least contributed in some little way. Yeah. I can totally understand. So let's see what's the next photo you have set up here. This is
it's my mom's birthday.
Oh, okay.
So over 10 years ago. And so
10 years ago. Oh,
yeah,
so she's 80 now, right? You're saying? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
so she had a surprise party for her and she didn't know.
Oh, that's a wonderful thing to do. So you say mom is still active, mobile,
Oh
and
yeah,
everything,
she's just fine.
Okay, wonderful. Oh, so besides your sister, any kids from your sister is married?
Yeah. They live in Perth.
Your sister's in Perth.
They moved to Perth, yeah.
Oh, okay. And how many children does
they
your
have?
sister have?
I got 2 nephews and a niece.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So altogether 5 grandchildren?
5 grandchildren.
Including your two,
yeah. So I used to tell my parents that you are 5-star generals. So you got 5 stars.
All right, wonderful. Now let's look at what's the next photo you have. Oh, this is what?
This is another outing, family outing. Where was it? I think it's somewhere in Cambodia.
Oh, Cambodia.
Yeah, so we went.
Right. It's good that you always travel together as a family.
Well, we try to as much as we can.
Right,
I mean, short trips here and there, not too far away, but try to be as local as you can.
So where did you and your wife meet? She is
Singapore.
In Singapore.
Yeah.
So was it not an arranged marriage? I mean,
it wasn't. It was one of those things.
You fell in love,
Yeah.
Just like I remember Lee Kuan Yew saying, right? In the West, you marry the woman you love. In the East, you learn to love the woman you marry. Something like that,
Okay.
to arrange marriages. Okay, let's see what's the next picture. Oh, this is at a conference or something?
Yeah, this was in San Diego. I'm representing Singapore at this point, representing Singapore at the International Standards Organization, ISO. They make all standards for the world, right? So I'm representing Singapore. At that time, it was called Spring Singapore. I think this entity at that point in time. So this is looking at standards related to IT-related stuff. Anything about technology and all that.
So I was Singapore.
It's the profession that I'm in IT profession. That's my areas of expertise. So this one specifically was because I was the convener for a working group on tools, on how to collaborate. I mean, for all that ISO is, they have challenges in collaborating. Okay, so trying to figure out how best to do something like that, and I was in charge of that, and I had to present it and all that. And I was glad that Singapore was able to do that.
You must be there, not the spring, or you were saying spring. They won't have sent you, right? Oh, excellent. Let's see what's the next photo you have here. What is this?
This was in.
What are you holding up in your hand?
Well, I'm trying to mimic me holding and touching the Great Wall of China.
Great Wall of China.
Yeah, this is in Beijing, right? So I always want to take a picture like that.
As though you're holding it up.
As if I'm holding a piece of Lego piece or something. So somehow I managed to get it done almost.
Okay. I've seen people like open their palm and someone is standing on it or something like this, right? Okay. Interesting. Let's see what's your next picture you have. And this is?
This is getting an award from Philip Yeo. At that time, he was chairman of Spring. And for standards-related work, IT standards perspective, so to make standards possible for so stuff like that.
Interesting. So this
was an unexpected one, but
never mind. It's always better when it's even unexpected, right?
Yes.
And what this is?
It's a bunch of my colleagues. This is in Taipei. So we have, and I'm in the technology space, and every year we have a tech event for Asia Pacific. And we meet in one city somewhere in Asia Pacific, and so annually we pick a city and we meet there. And what I have always done is at all these, usually it's a 3-day event. So on the day 2, 6 a.m. in the morning, we go for a run.
Oh, you make everybody wake up so early.
You jolly well show up there, we go for a run. You walk or run, I don't care. Just show up, move with us. And so this is just before we went off for the run. So last year we did it in Seoul, and last year we had almost 90 people at the run. There we have about 400, 500 people showing up, but so a fair percentage showing up for the run it's a good thing to have.
Oh, okay, wonderful. This is your company event?
Yeah, company event.
Okay. And what's the company that you're with now?
I'm at a company called Red Hat, which is an open source technology company.
Oh, cool. How long have you been there?
17 years.
It's quite a long time.
It's been a long time, yeah. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. So every day is an adventure.
Wonderful. Let's look at what's the next picture you have.
This is another of my hash runs.
I have
to.
This is in?
This is somewhere in Woodlands.
Oh, Singapore. I thought you
Yeah.
were in overseas, huh?
Yeah, it may look like it's overseas, but it's in Woodlands.
Oh,
In case you don't know. So that's why I had to take someone's. That's why I say when I go for my hash runs, like, where is this? This is still in Singapore. We are still in Singapore. Better take a picture. It's still in Singapore. This is
cool, man.
somewhere in Woodlands, the Kranji area. It's in the Kranji area.
It looks like you're overseas, you know.
Yeah, it sure does.
Right. Okay, let's move on to the picture.
This is overseas.
Oh, okay.
This is somewhere in
rubber trees in the back.
Rubber trees.
Okay.
This is in KL, in Malaysia, near Seremban, and running through the forest is a tough thing.
Yeah.
Especially with the rubber plantation, because every turn you turn here, turn there, all look alike. It all looks. Yeah, it can. It all looks
disorientated.
It can become especially when you don't follow the trail. You can. So every corner you look is the same. No matter which way you turn, they all look the same. So if you don't follow the trail, you'll be lost.
Best to don't run alone, huh?
Oh yeah, you always run with people
around, huh? Okay, let's see. What's your next photo you have?
This is last year. My older son got his commission in SAF Safti. He put in a lot of effort. He put in tons of work, and he got this Sword of Honor as well. So
Sword of Honor.
We had a commissioning parade last year.
So it's an infantry officer?
Infantry, yeah, he's infantry.
Oh, so now the elder brother is out, and then now the younger brother.
The younger fellow is
he like under some stress to make it?
No. We have We have always with the boys. We have always been. You do the best you can. We are not going to compare one against the other because that's absolutely unfair.
Correct.
Because each of you have different skills, different experiences, different opportunities. So you cannot be the same. So you do. But what we encourage them to do is do the best you can. Just do the best you can.
Don't exert unnecessary pressure on them.
Yeah, no need.
To fit a certain mold expectation.
Yeah, it's absolutely not fair.
Right.
So even my parents didn't had they had some expectation, but it was not excessive. So it was
okay. Lovely. Let's look at what else is.
It's a final. This is the final picture from that I have in this collection, as it were. This was last year. This is at what's the hotel?
Singapore?
Yeah, in Singapore. We had our gathering of all my schoolmates from secondary school.
Your RI
cohort. So we organized. We got about. Our cohort is about, including the girls who joined us subsequently in pre-U, it's probably 400 people, 400, 500. But we managed to get about 160, 170 people.
Not too bad. About almost half turned out.
And and quite a few of them came from outside Singapore. Just for that. And so it was good fun. It was good thing to be able to organize, and
it's always good to catch up with each other.
Yeah, because you know your classmates from school days, and you know this guy is this, that person is this way.
Yeah. Well, for me, because I'm the one who's always organizing the class gatherings, and then when we get together, right, there are some of them who are very conscious, like I'm just a homemaker. I say, look, we don't care who you are, no. It's like we are all back to 16, 17 years old. I don't care. Even if you're the prime minister, you come back here, you don't try to throw your weight around.
Absolutely not. Yeah, we all the same. We went through this, right?
Yeah, we all. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Yeah. So we are just gathering, and having fun and good memories.
But there'll be people who carry, different expectations.
Yeah,
we can't. Yeah. So we are not forcing anybody to show up. But if you show up, thank you very much. We'd love to talk to you. Have reminiscent school days.
Wonderful.
So that's basically
to wrap up, right, for today, right? So Harish, maybe you want to share with us what are some of your hopes, dreams, and aspirations for family, and maybe for Singapore going forward, and maybe why you decided to step forward and become a candidate for PSP.
Sure. I think one of the things that's always bothered me is that in order to do good for anything, right, whatever that you want to do good for, you have to participate. If you don't participate, you don't get to influence the direction. But I have always looked at society as a place that will be better if people chip in, participate, and move forward with. So therefore, when you extrapolate into a democracy and all these kinds of stuff, if you don't participate, democracy it is a participatory sport. It's not a spectator sport. You cannot just sit back and assume everything is going to be the case. You cannot just go and vote and say that I've done my work. You haven't. You have to know why you're doing it. You have to understand the story behind it. You have to understand why you want to do this. So to me, this is an opportunity to articulate to other people and say, look, this is why you should vote. This is why you should volunteer. Do your stuff. This is a participatory sport. It's not a spectator sport. So to me, all right, this is time for me to now step up in the next thing that I can possibly do. I've done quite a few things previously. I've got something extra that I can give back. So let's do that. And let's do that for Singapore. I mean, so Singapore deserves better. So there you go.
All right, thank you very much there. So stepping forward, right? A lot of people have this like a political apathy sometimes. They think that politics is not something we are not interested in. Let the politicians do their job, but it can impact us in good and also not so good ways. No, in that sense,
it does impact you if you don't have a say. If you don't participate, you got no excuse to complain.
Yeah.
You didn't participate. How you have no right to say anything after that. If you don't participate, this is what happens. People complain. Why? Participate.
Yes, we can make the difference.
We can make the difference.
Right, and Singaporeans deserve better. So we have come to the end of this interview with Harish Pillay, and we thank you for joining us in this interview. And I'm sure through this program, you have got to know a bit more about Harish Pillay, and you will know him as a politician in time to come, and you have known a bit more about him, and of course you saw him getting a bit emotional just now because that was a very traumatic experience that he went through in Banda Aceh. So we thank you for joining us, and this is Craig signing off, and thank you Harish for joining us in this program today, and we wish all Singaporeans bye-bye.